Hey everyone, Manero here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make comic panels, balloons and sound effects in Procreate. So let's jump right into it. To make this possible, I'm going to be using the ultimate dynamic comic balloons and sound effects for Procreate. That since this week's update, it also includes tools for creating comic panels. You can find this toolkit in the description below, along with a free mini version for you to try out. Okay, the first thing you need to have in mind is the canvas settings. These brushes are optimized to work best at a minimum resolution of 300 dpi. The reason is that because the amount of layers you can get in Procreate depends on the size of your canvas. 300 dpi is a good resolution that will give you enough layers to work while being enough for printing. You can work on bigger or smaller resolutions, but I wanted to clarify that a minimum of 300 dpi is what I recommend for the best results with these tools. I'm going to create an 8.5 by 11 inches canvas, but you can have any size you want. How to create comic panels in Procreate. When you install the comic panels brush set, you'll see that there is 9 brushes included. The difference between them is that each one has a different thickness in the outline. By the way, through this whole video, remember that you can see what brush I'm using every time just by looking at this rectangle here. We are going to need to set a 2D grid and also activate the assisted drawing here in the bottom right. Then we can turn the drawing guide off so that it doesn't bother us visually. But we need to make sure that assisted drawing is still activated in our layer where we are going to draw the panels. Now you can see that my strokes follow the vertical and horizontal guides of the grid. Usually in a comic we will want our panels to have black outlines and white background. So for these brushes to work as intended, you need to set the primary color to black and the secondary color to white, like you can see I'm doing on screen right now. Now I'm going to select one of the brushes, in this case a thick one. Then I will set the size around 45% and draw the exterior margins of my page. To make sure that the 4 margins have the same distance from the edges of the page, I'm using the very edge of the page as a guide to draw my line. This is exactly the place where the tip of my Apple Pencil is passing by. And I'm doing the same exact thing for the 4 sides of the page. You can make the distance from the edge of the page thinner or wider by making the brush bigger or smaller when doing this. But have in mind that the thickness of the outline will change a little bit. That's why I included 9 different brushes with different thicknesses, so you can play around and adjust everything to your needs. The cool thing is that we are not just drawing the black lines, but also the margin is going to have a white feeling. Let me change the color of the background to show you what I mean. For the divisions of the panels, if we just make the same brush smaller, this is what happens. The outline is too thick, so to do the divisions we are going to use a thinner brush. I see that medium 1 works well for the size of the division that I want to have, so I'm going to use this one. If I would have chosen a thinner brush, the outline would have also been different than the one in the margin. This is just to show you that it is trial and error. I'm trying one brush, and if it turns out to be too thin or too thick, I'll try with another brush. But now that I know which brush is perfect for the job, I can do the divisions of my panels very easily. The fun part is that we have a lot of options. If you turn off the drawing assist in the layer, you can use quick shape to do diagonal divisions in any direction you want. Or even do circular panels. Or you can use it in combination with other drawing guides, like the perspective guide, to do something like this. If you feel adventurous, you can do freehand panels too. Let's say that you would like to spice things up and make your panels more colorful. You can change the primary and secondary colors to any colors you want. The only thing you need to have in mind is to make sure that your primary color is always darker than the secondary color for the best results. This is what happens if you do it the other way around. This is because of how the brush engine works in Procreate right now. But if you really want to make panels like this, you can do it. All you have to do is make them in black and white first, and just use color drop to change them to any colors you want. This is going to happen for the comic balloons later as well, so keep that in mind. The amazing thing about these panels is that because they automatically have a color fill, you can do your drawings in a layer below, which is going to save you another bit of time. How to create comic balloons in Procreate. For the sake of this part of the video, let me bring in some drawings of my turtle character I made previously to quickly compose an improvised comic page. When you install the balloon brush set included in this toolkit, you'll see that there is tons and tons of brushes here. There is 136 different balloon shapes in total at this moment, and 10 different dynamic balloon tails. Let's see how all this works. Same as with the comic panels, we want to have our primary and secondary colors set to black and white respectively. So the cool thing about these comic balloons is that it doesn't matter if you make the same balloon shape bigger or smaller, it will keep the outline with a consistent thickness every time. For this to work properly, you need to keep the balloon size between a 5 and 30% range. This is not a problem at all, because as you can see, this range will give you an incredible variety of different balloon sizes from very small to super large, more than enough for your comic making needs. This rule is a bit different for the included manga balloons. Because they have a thinner outline by default, the brush size range needs to be between 25 and 40%. I have included these notes in the brush set itself, so that you have the info right there if you need it. Let's see how the balloon tail brushes work. What I'm doing here is start the stroke with normal pressure, and when I want the tail to end in a pointy shape, I just let go the stroke and it does it automatically for me. This might take a little bit of practice, but you'll get used to it very quickly. There is many ways that you can place and combine the speech bubbles. For example, you can place them separated from each other and link them with the tails. Or you can merge the balloons themselves with each other. Have in mind that for the balloons and the tails to merge with each other, they need to be in the same layer. Knowing this, you can have balloons in different layers so that you can overlap them like this. You can also make the balloons with different outlines and filling colors with the same method I showed you before with the comic panels. Remember that for making them with a light outline and a dark color fill, you will need to make them first in black and white and use color drop. Another trick to know about the balloons. Let's say you want to change the thickness of the outline. Is it possible? Yes. All you have to do is click twice on a brush to open up the brush settings. You will see that it is a dual brush. Click on the secondary brush and click on Properties. See this slider here? This is the slider that will allow you to control the thickness of the outline in any balloon. Once you have changed it, click on Done. It is very sensitive, so just by decreasing it or increasing it a little bit, you will immediately notice the difference in thickness. If you ever want to return any of the brushes to its original state, remember that you can do it by going to the About this brush tab in the brush settings and click on Reset Brush. As I said before, there is tons of different balloon shapes included. Some of them are special, like this one here, that you can place like any other balloon, but then use color drop to fill in this part of the balloon with any color you want. Actually, let's do a little time lapse to show you all the other balloon shapes that you will find in this set if you're curious. As for the balloon tails, I have also included 10 different ones that will give you slightly different outcomes. You can see me swatching all 10 here. You can also play with the speech bubbles depending on what layer you place them. For example, if you place them in the same layer as the panels, they will automatically merge with the panels. But you can also place your balloons under the panels or over the panels, depending on the look you want to have. How to create comic sound effects in Procreate. When you open the sound effects brush set, you will see that there are 10 special brushes for drawing your own custom sound effects, but we'll check them out in a second. First, there is also 100 pre-made sound effects that you can use in your comics right away. So let's see how those work. I'm going to use this pow sound effect as an example. The sound effect brushes also work with the primary and secondary colors, as you can see. You can change the size of the brush and also the angle simply by rotating the canvas before placing it. If you change the primary and secondary colors, you can quickly personalize the sound effects. Unlike the comic panels and balloons, with these pre-made sound effects you can set a light outline color and a dark color filling directly, no need to do them in black and white first. Let's have now another time-lapse to give you a quick look at all the different pre-made sound effects that are included. And finally, you can quickly make your own custom sound effects with these 10 special brushes included that I mentioned before. Each one of them will give you a different type of stroke and outline, and again, you can also play with the primary and secondary colors to give them the look you want. Well, I hope you liked this in-depth video about my toolkit for making comic panels, balloons and sound effects in Procreate. I really think this is one of my best Procreate brush sets to date and the most useful to any comic artist out there working in Procreate. If you'd like to check it out, you can also save 20% with my Comic Artist Mega Bundle that also comes with the Comic Book Artist brush set. I also have other sets and tons of freebies available on my Gumroad page, so check them out. All the links are in the description below. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time.